Parker, Nikki Anasike, and Taisha Fluker up front. And for Pokey Chapman and LSU, Erica White, Shalonda Hostin with Augustus, Ashley Thomas, and Sylvia Fowles, preseason first-team All-SEC, a Wooden Award candidate, a Wade Award candidate, and the SEC leader with 19 double-doubles on the year. Pat Summitt in her 32nd year as head coach of the Lady Vols, winningest all-time, 909 and 176. She passed Dean Smith March 22nd a year ago. And the opening tap controlled by Tennessee. Taisha Fluker to Candace Parker.
And this is where yesterday when Candace Parker played point guard against Georgia, it took a lot of pressure off Shauna Zolman, and Zolman was a lot fresher in taking her shots. Didn't get worn down having to bring the ball up the court.
The turnaround is short, but rebounded and rejected twice is Anasike, and it's out of bounds. Still Tennessee ball. What a defensive start for Sylvia Fowles. Pokey Chapman in her second year, replacing the late Sue Gunter. Hall of Famer, Chapman's mentor.
Chapman was named the National Coach of the Year last year. They went to the Final Four 2 years in a row.
Fluker with the game's first two.
Two things that happened on that possession before, Dave, was the fact that Sylvia Fowles blocked the shot twice. She stayed out of foul trouble, which is a key for LSU. And then on the other hand, Tennessee, they create opportunities on the offensive end because of their ability to get offensive rebounds.
Years ago, you'd say, can LSU match Tennessee and hold off their own nerves? They're well beyond that, with a chance this year to make it to their third straight Final Four. Fouls with a couple of blocks and a couple of points.
One of the things we talked to Simone Augustus at shoot-around today, she said one of the reasons she came to LSU was to create a program that could beat and compete against Tennessee.
3 blocks for Fowles.
And Nikki Anasike threw right out of her shoe.
White losing a dribble to Spencer, while Anasike does some shoe repair. The three-pointer by Shauna Zolman, her 83rd of the year.
Zolman was huge in the Georgia game on her three-point shooting. She hit 4.
Tennessee, single-season record for threes. Augustus answers. Doesn't shoot that much out there, but she makes more than half of her threes. She's now 17 for 31.
It was interesting listening to Pat Summitt today at shoot-around saying Simone Augustus has 3 spots on the floor. Baseline, extended wing, and near the top of the key. And you know where she's going to shoot from. The biggest thing is to try and defend them.
Only 3 spots?
Well, each side of the court.
Maybe just the 3 she specializes in. As the miss by Taisha Fluker is rebounded by LSU.
Earlier this season, just a few weeks ago, LSU beat Tennessee in Knoxville 72-69. The 2 things that stood out is that LSU out-rebounded Tennessee, and they got more free throws.
LSU becoming the first SEC team in 10 years to win a game in Knoxville. They ended Tennessee's SEC home win streak at 64.
Well, Pat Summitt talked about defense so much against this LSU team and trying to not allow Simone Augustus to get the ball. Obviously, we talk about their rebounding and just make it tough for Simone Augustus to get her shots. And then for LSU, we talk about fouls, staying out of foul trouble, and LSU's got to run their offense.
After Spencer's foul stolen by Zolman and traveling, Candace Parker turns it right back over.
LSU and a lot of teams feel that now playing Tennessee, they can put a lot of pressure on them, Dave, because they lost Sharday Wiley-Gatewood. She transferred out, and then Alexis Hornbuckle broke her wrist the next game after the LSU loss to Vanderbilt, and she's been out and had surgery on that wrist. So they don't.
9 in uniform tonight. Fowles is tied up. LSU tries to pound it underneath.
But Pat Summitt told you she likes a smaller bench.
Yeah, she's had as many as 14 in uniform, so that's too many. You can't possibly keep that many happy. So we're going to play 9. 9 is just about right. Fouls a rebound off the miss by Augustus, and Sylvia puts it back.
That's the aggressive play that Sylvia Fowles showed this summer when she went over with the USA national team.
Terrific start for the 6'6" senior out of Miami.
She said, they're going to start calling me the Incredible Huck. You don't want to make me angry.
Number 3, Zolman. And it appeared Fluker was going to have a point-blank follow attempt. Ashley Thomas held her off. In transition, traveling, Augustus.
LSU wants to push the ball up. They're going to try and put pressure on Tennessee to get back on the defensive end, and that's one thing Pat Summitt talked to me before the game, said we want to run when we can run. We want to control it because we know LSU is very good in transition.
Tennessee 27-4. 3 of those losses in SEC play. They're the 2nd seed in this tournament. LSU 13-1 in the league. The top seed 27-2. Number 3 ranked in the country. Only losses 51-48 at UConn. And in overtime by 1 at Florida, 79-78. That close to a perfect season. 3 from way outside, and it's 8-7, the bucket by Parker.
Shows you the versatility of Candace Parker, one of the best players in the country with her back to the basket, getting on the block, and then turns around, can face up with great range.
It's just her 3rd three-pointer this redshirt freshman season. Nursed a knee injury last year. Nominee for National Comeback Player of the Year. So we're just underway in North Little Rock, 15-18 remaining. Terrific start for Fowles and LSU. They trail Tennessee by 1. Just across the Arkansas River from Little Rock, Alltel Arena, site of the SEC championship game. Championship week presented by 7-Up. 8-7 Tennessee. Sylvia Fowles, 6'6" sophomore with 4 points, officially 2 blocks.
Talked to Pokey Chapman at shoot-around today, and she said what makes her so tough is she's active in helping out, altering others in their shots. She's getting more aggressive down low. She has really matured, and she's not getting in foul trouble.
5 on the shot clock. They back off White. She throws up an air ball, and it's out off foul. Well, we just showed all 3 of her block shots. I knew she had 3. Officially, they just got her with 2.
Well, and you know what? Andy Landers, after the game the other night, they had Sherelle Baker with 3 fouls, and we said Sherelle Baker had 3 steals, and had 3 steals within the first, 3 minutes. Thought she had about 8 or 9 steals in that game, so there was a question by Andy Landers in the stats crew here.
You get that high, you can sort of understand how they might miss 1 or 2, but I mean, we're just 5 minutes in here. LSU.
Well, they're not that hard to miss, are they, Dave?
No, all 3 of those were very emphatic, right out in front. LSU getting out in the passing lanes as Yolanda Hosta knocks that one out with 13 on the shot clock.
Both teams very good at changing their defenses out, playing man-to-man and switching up into their matchup zones. And you see White at the top on Parker.
And the dish down to the baseline. Open shots missed there, first by Fluker, then by Spencer. Here come the Lady Tigers.
What LSU did was they got the ball out of Parker's hands.
Augustus so deadly, Annie, on the run.
Well, she is. She's got such great moves, and you know, this is not a one-on-one team, this LSU team. They score off the assists.
A 3-pointer. Sydney Spencer with her 46th of the year.
Huge basket by Sydney Spencer. She was 4 of 6 in yesterday's game against Georgia. All 10 points in the second half, and when she's on, that is certainly going to help the inside game for Tennessee.
Lady Vols 3 of 4 from 3, only 1 out of 8 inside the 3-point line. As Simone Augustus backs out and misfires.
Maybe not the shot that LSU wanted, but certainly Tennessee forcing a tough shot for Augustus.
There's Fowles again, gets her hand on the pass from Anasike, and here comes LSU. White in transition underneath its Fowles.
Well, Zolman went down. Good heads-up play to get the ball inside to Sylvia Fowles. Once Fowles gets inside that lane, Dave, she is so difficult to stop.
A perfect start for Sylvia. In the parade, and McDonald's All-America. 2 state titles at Edison High School, 1 at Gulliver Prep in Miami. Good trigger by Sydney Spencer. Guess who has the rebound? And for fouls, 6 points on perfect shooting, couple of boards, officially a couple of block shots. Tied at 11. Only. Underneath, Thomas finding fouls. She's 4 for 4. She's got a shot at a 3-point play.
You can see that LSU is really looking for the high-low to get inside to Sylvia Fowles. Again, at 6'6", she has the ability to go up high, and she's become very aggressive coming out in this game. She's had a career high against Vanderbilt, 26 points this year and 22 rebounds.
And Miseki called for the foul, her first. And the 3-point play gives Sylvia Fowles 9 of LSU's 14 points.
I could have sworn I counted more than 2 rebounds.
Yeah, I think they need to.
I think you and I better start keeping stats.
They need to review the tape of this thing. She's being shortchanged in a couple of categories.
Zolman, so smart. Just a great move by Zolman to get the defense up in the air.
Ashley Thomas commits the foul. The Hartford Civic Center will be rocking Tuesday night for the Women's Big East Championship, as 2 teams will battle it out for the right to be crowned Big East Tournament champion. The Women's Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale, part of Championship Week, presented by 7-Up on ESPN2, Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern.
That'll be interesting to see if Rutgers winning the Big East regular season, if they sweep with the tournament, can they get a #1 seed?
That'll be the storyline there. Florence Williams checks in for LSU in place of Ashley Thomas. Shauna Zolman, senior from Syracuse, Indiana, hits them both. Balance from Tennessee. They have 4 different players, each with 1 field goal. The only 2 Lady Tigers who have scored are Fowles and Augustus, the 2 big guns. Speaking of which, Augustus goes down low. The first missed shot by Fowles.
That's what makes it tough. When Fowles gets the ball outside the lane, she makes a great move inside. She's got to finish those.
Spencer finishes from 15 on the baseline. She's got 5. And the Lady Vols regain the lead by 1. Augustus, that line drive, so effective, though. If you were teaching her from scratch, you'd put more arc on that shot, but obviously it doesn't bother her much. She makes 59% from the field. She
struggled a little bit in the NCAA tournament, and her dad worked with her, made her wear a glove to help her shot and get more of a feel for the ball.
Makes better than half her threes, almost 60% overall from the field. So how much would you want to change it? 7 on the shot clock as the 3-pointer is no good by Parker. Tennessee hits the offensive glass. No putback, though, by Fluker. And Miseki set her up nicely. Here comes Erica White. Parker picking her up. Augustus trying to take Spencer off the dribble. All alone in the corner. Williams does not get the roll, but she does get a rebound twice, and the second follow goes.
That's a great hustle play by Williams. Was wide open in the corner, and good heads-up play by Simone Augustus. Did the one-on-one, pulled it back out, and they set up their offense. Pokey Chapman wants them to get about 5 to 8 passes, even 10 passes within their offense, because now your opponent has to play defense. That's tough.
Give and go. Parker fouled. Knocked away by Hostin. LSU by 3. 10:57 to go in the first half of the Alltel Arena. Winner is the SEC Tournament Champion. LSU by 3. We're midway in the first half. Dave Barnett and Ann Myers in North Little Rock, Arkansas. The SEC Tournament Championship this year marks the 25th anniversary of the NCAA Women's Championship. And to celebrate, we're counting down the top 25 championship moments. Each week, we'll reveal a new moment until we get to #1 at the NCAA Women's Championship game. She was on April 4th. Not a yellow brick road, but Missouri State's Jackie Stiles was somewhere way over the rainbow in this one.
Jackie Stiles has lived up to everything we had heard. 41, unbelievable. People are saying she's the biggest thing to come out of Kansas since Dorothy.
Jackie Stiles, what a fun player to watch when she was in college. Had a lot of injuries.
Moment number 15 brought to you by Singular. Then known as Southwest Missouri State, or SMS, now Missouri State. Tennessee tries to pound it low. They turn it over down to the deck. Florence Williams comes up with a steal.
Forced pass by Zolman that time. Spacing wasn't very good.
Williams cashes in what she created on the defensive side.
Well, Pokey Chapman was talking about Florence Williams, a senior out of Edison High School in Miami, Florida, that she has really been a spark off the bench. A lot of people kind of forget about what she can do, not just offensively, but a lot of other things, little things on the floor.
Biggest lead of the game as Fluker misses.
Coming into this game, Fluker's missed her last 2 shots. She was shooting over 73% in the last 2 games.
Augustus. Simone with 9, and the lead has grown to 7.
Simone Augustus, look at her just kind of showing her stuff off, that emotion that we have not seen in the past few years. This is her team. She's taken charge.
Ending an 8-0 run, Sydney Spencer with her second three-pointer.
Yeah, Sydney Spencer, just a great shot, and she's really kind of fallen into what position she is for this Lady Tennessee team.
Junior out of Hoover, Alabama. Makes her 22-18.
She also came off a knee injury from last year, and Shauna Zolman ended up wearing her uniform number.
Austin rebounded by Fowles, and the hook followed.
Oh, what a rebound. She just snatched that up from over the Tennessee players, and then a great putback by Fowles.
Well, as hard as it is to upstage Simone Augustus, we're watching that happen. Sylvia Fowles has been spectacular, the best player on the floor.
And the coaching staff will tell you, it may look like a 1-2 punch on this LSU team. Obviously, they do a lot of the scoring, but it is certainly a team effort.
Candace Parker has had a bit of a slow start. Now with 5. Earlier, she made just her 3rd three-pointer of the season.
Parker just kind of backs in. She's got a great turnaround and a fadeaway.
Lady Tigers hitting 61% as Augustus misses.
She had too much arch.
Messes her up every time. Tennessee hitting just 37%, and yet they can make it a one-point game, and Spencer does with her 3rd three.
Great move by Tennessee. You know who's hot right now. It's Spencer. They've had a couple other people score with Parker and so forth, but Spencer wide open for LSU. They've got to recognize where Spencer is on the floor and D up on it.
They've answered 8 unanswered LSU points with an 8-2 Lady ball run.
Good hands by Sylvia Fowles to try and get that shot up. But here, nice pass by Zolman. Spencer just kind of filling in, trailing down the lane, the top of the key, and nobody picks her up, wide open. And both Spencer and Zolman are kind of spot-up shooters, Dave. When they've got plenty of time to shoot and set up, they've got a good chance of knocking that shot down. When they've got to put it on the floor and create, it's a little bit more difficult for them to score.
Trying to call for her first foul. Fouls, just a 57% free throw shooter. Really just about her only weakness as Pat Summitt takes out Anasicki. And Sybil Dosti checks in, a 6'3" sophomore from Tucson.
Well, one of the things about Tennessee right now, they're deep in the post player position that can go up against fouls. So you've got one body in fouls, and then you've really got like 15 fouls to give with Tennessee with the posts that they can send in against Sylvia Fowles.
Sylvia and Augustus competing for flattest arc. Sylvia got the second free throw in, 25-23. Parker flashes across the high post. So does Fowles, but she's late and commits her first.
Looked like it was going to be a pretty play. Kind of a soft pass, too. And for Fowles to come over, they called it over the top. She can't afford to get those kind of fouls, especially this early in the game.
So Candace Parker, 6'4", redshirt freshman, can play all 5 positions. Will spend a lot of time at the point.
Well, and they got Williams guarding Parker, and Parker wanted it inside.
Fluker turned away inside. No one can get the better of Sylvia Fowles in this first half. When they go down low, she's already there waiting to pounce on it. Kicked out by Tennessee. Timeout. 7:34 the first half. Pokey Chapman and the Lady Tigers, top seeds in this SEC championship, leading Tennessee by 2. LSU by 2. Your North Little Rock, Arkansas. Championship week is in full swing, and Monday, 2 more teams will be crowned conference champions on ESPN2. First at 5 Eastern is the Women's Atlantic 10 Championship. That matchup, number 20 Temple against George Washington. And then at 7 Eastern, the Women's Big Ten Tournament comes to a close with number 5 Ohio State taking on number 11 Purdue. Championship week presented by 7-Up on ESPN2 tomorrow. 3 3-pointers. 11 points in this half for Sydney Spencer.
Well, certainly this is what is keeping Tennessee in the game. As you said, 3 for 3 by Sydney Spencer. 5 3-pointers for the Lady Vols. They are being outscored 14-2 in the paint by LSU.
With Austin getting her 33rd 3-pointer of the year. LSU just is not a team that looks for very many threes. They have allowed more than twice as many as they've made this year, and they've made not even close to half as many as Tennessee.
And that has to do with their motion offense. They are very efficient. They are very patient. They will get 5, 6, 7, sometimes 10 passes within their offense to look to get inside.
Nice offensive rebound, no putback though. As again, Fowles comes out of the tangle with the rebound after the miss by Parker.
Well, they've given her her 4th rebound. She has 20 games already, Sylvia Fowles, with double-doubles this year, 30 in her career.
Austin setting up the low post, and Fowles this time turned away. Parker stolen from behind comes Erica White. And now Augustus, guarded by Spencer. Cross court, Austin for 3. Hard to say LSU's doing the wrong thing by not looking for very many threes when they are the 2nd best shooting team in the country. 50.5% for the season, and even better than that today, 54.5% from the field.
Well, Austin is their 3-point shooter in the SEC tournament, 6 of 10. Ooh.
Parker gets this call. A blocking foul. This will be team foul number 4 on LSU. Williams with her first.
They called the block on Williams depending on how deep she was in that lane. And Candace Parker, I talked to her after the shoot around, I said, you know, you landed on your knees a couple times last night. When are you going back to the knee pads? And Pat Summitt said, you know, she wore them in high school, but they're not cool. And I saw her just grab her knees again.
Amazing that would be a factor if somebody's already missed a season because of knee surgery. First free throw with 1 more to come. To hear Pat Summitt talk about Candace Parker, you really have to go back to the Shamiqua Holsclaw years to think of a similar player who's gotten similar praise from a coach.
And the biggest thing that probably sets Candace Parker apart is the fact that her composure. Shamiqua Holsclaw wasn't relied on as much because there were seniors and veterans there in the program that helped her along the way. Candace Parker, this has basically been her team, even though Zolman's a senior.
A lob underneath for Fowles. It is almost stripped by Dostie.
And Fluker inside.
Lady Tigers get it back. Another lob intended for Augustus. Off Fowles, finally picked up by Zolman. And Tennessee can tie with a 3.
Pokey Chapman talked about turnovers, and her team gets sloppy, throwing the ball away like that. It gives Tennessee opportunities.
There's Parker, just overshot the bank a little bit. Fowles gets that outlet pass off as she was falling down, and White will go for a 3-point play. What a piece of transition work there by LSU.
Erica White at 5'3" has stepped in for Tamika Johnson this year. Rashonda LeBlanc started out at point guard and got hurt, has a high ankle sprain. Now Erica White, just her confidence coming in and leading this team. She still has to learn quite a few things about, what she needs to do, but her patience and her confidence has gotten better because she's had the opportunity to get minutes.
You should be confident. She played for 3 straight state championship teams in Jacksonville, Florida. The Class 4A Player of the Year, McDonald's All-America. What's not to be confident about as Hostin kicks that one out.
She said when she was younger, she looked at Michael Jordan and Penny Hardaway, and then for the women's game, it was Cynthia Cooper and Debbie Black. She obviously Tamika Johnson, but Debbie Black was that fire and just in your face. And she's been told at her size, can't do it, you're too small. She loves it because she's tougher, because people have told her she can't do something.
Parker with a left hand. Here is maybe an unfair comparison, but it comes immediately to mind as we watch Parker go through so many smooth motions. This will be a foul on Spencer. How about Candace Parker and Tim Duncan? See any similarities?
There could be. It's still early.
She's the big fundamental women's college basketball version. Not a fair comparison, but some of the same elements make up both of their games. Spencer's foul is her second.
Certainly a great crowd here. A lot of Tennessee fans, a lot of LSU fans. Great back and forth.
Lawrence Williams a little too excited. Moved her pivot foot. LSU's 5th turnover. They have forced 4 by Tennessee. LSU 91-73 over Ole Miss, 79-52 over Kentucky to reach this final. They won this tournament in 91 and again 2003.
Koki Chapman was a senior that year. Some Gunner coaching.
Second straight SEC regular season title. Hoping to make their 3rd straight trip to the Final Four. Parker in the low block. Will shoot 2. That's the Duncan-esque part of her game I'm talking about. Very patient, setting up, great footwork down below. Uses the glass. Timeout, 3:58 remaining. LSU 30-27 in the SEC championship game. All right, Train, it's 30-27 LSU here. 3:58 remaining in the first half. This is the 43rd meeting all time. Tennessee leads 33-9.
Candace Parker holds the ball with that one hand. Not too many women in this game, but what Tennessee does, they allow her and force her to get the ball out of Candace Parker's hand, let somebody else beat you. Fluker, coming into this game, was shooting over 73% in the SEC tournament, is 1 of 7 from the floor, but Candace Parker, 3 of 7. She's got 2 turnovers, and obviously for both teams, taking care of the basketball is so important.
Parker just 3 for 7 today. In the tournament coming into today, she was shooting 65%. Averaging 21.5 points, 12 boards. And 4 assists. 4 for 4 at the line.
And that's the one thing that Pat Summitt has talked about, her versatility, the ability to pass and get others involved, and very much a team player. But every game has said, I want you to be a little bit more selfish.
Foul shuffled her feet that time. The Hartford Civic Center, the site Tuesday night for the Women's Big East Championship. The Women's Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale, part of Championship Week presented by 7-Up. ESPN 2 Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern.
Now Zolman's been bringing the ball up the floor. LSU has not put any pressure on Tennessee. We talked about their backcourt not being that strong, and Zolman, when she gets a lot of pressure, has a tendency to get flustered.
Parker backs in, turns, misses the hook. Out of bounds off LSU.
Now, Tennessee has been relentless in trying to get the offensive boards. LSU has worked really hard on the defensive end to block out, but Tennessee does such a great job. This Pat Summitt team says, they have really struggled on the boards this year, but when they do, they just give themselves so many opportunities.
Nifty rebound by Spencer to follow up her own miss. 13 for Sydney Spencer.
Now, Sydney Spencer right now is the player keeping Tennessee hot. They're keeping them in this first half.
She averages 9.2 per game. With 3 minutes to go in the first half. Fouls 12 and 6 leading LSU. Augustus is rejected point blank. Tennessee ball in a 1-point lead. And a tough shot off 1 foot by Zolman. Tied up rebound. The Lady Vols have the possession arrow.
The Tennessee coaches said on the defensive end for them, there you see Spencer following her shot, getting the offensive glass and putting it back in. But the coaches today for Tennessee said at shoot around, if Simone beats us, she's got to work as hard as she can, and you've got to deny her the ball and limit her touches. If anything you do, it's crucial that you make it difficult for Simone Augustus to score, and they have done that.
Three-pointer miss by Dominique Redding. Parker the offensive board. Fouls made her miss. Another Tennessee offensive rebound. Redding out for yet another Sydney Spencer three-pointer. Her fourth. Timeout LSU. Sydney Spencer has almost doubled her per-game average. She has 16 points. She's perfect 4 for 4 beyond the arc. Tennessee by 4. After the timeout, LSU ball. Down by 4, they throw it away. Erica White did not have a target inside. She thought she did.
Even though Tennessee is on the glass offensively, it's their defense right now. They have disrupted the motion offense of LSU, and it's been over 8 minutes since Simone Augustus has scored for LSU.
The Tennessee run is 11-2. Here's the really bad news for LSU. They're shooting 54%, and they're still down by 4. Tennessee just 34%.
Well, certainly the three-point shots have been huge for Tennessee.
Parker matched up with Ashley Thomas. Hits the follow-away. 13 for Candace Parker.
There's that follow-away that is so difficult to defend. She can go over either shoulder.
A minute 40 and a half, a 13-2 Lady Ball run.
So they are certainly denying Simone Augustus the ball.
One-on-one defense applied by Spencer.
See, this is what Pokey Chapman does not want, is one-on-one situations.
And Augustus misses.
That dribbling is taking up too much energy.
Zolman underneath, another block by Fouls. That's 5 blocks unofficially for fouls as the three-pointer out and back in again by Shalonda Hostin.
Erica White took it almost too deep in there to get that pass outside to Hostin. Tough shot.
That's a tough shot. The big basket of the first half for the Lady Tigers.
Stop that
lead
run.
in half. It did stop the run. Fouls again, gets a piece of the shot by Anasicki. 48 seconds. White for Hostin, feeling it, but short this time for the three. However, it'll work as a 2-for-1 shot. Timeout Tennessee, 40.3 seconds in the half, 27 on the shot clock. These two got together on February the 9th in the regular season meeting in Knoxville, and the Lady Tigers became the first SEC team to win in Tennessee at Thompson Bowling Arena in nearly 10 years. 72-69 with Simone Augustus leading the way with 32.
And a couple things for LSU. They out-rebounded Tennessee. They got to the free throw line a little bit more. And also, Alexis Hornbuckle was a part of that Tennessee team, and she had 11.6 rebounds and 6 assists. Hornbuckle, as you see, broke a bone in her wrist the next game against Vanderbilt.
33 seconds, difference of 13 on the 2 clocks. As Fluker comes outside to help out.
I like the timeout, takes some time off the clock.
Parker double teamed. Dominique Redding misses the three. And the rebound to Ashley Thomas with 15 seconds, and LSU with a chance to tie it before the half. Remember, threes are not their specialty. See if they look for one here. Augustus is fouled with 4.7. Dominique Redding, the junior from Clearwater, Florida, picks up her first.
Not a bad foul because LSU's got to take it out. 4.7 seconds left. Tennessee really worked on defending the out of bounds today.
All right, throwing it in. Austin fouls, and Thomas just does get up a very low percentage shot at the buzzer. Sydney Spencer, 4 3-pointers, 16 points to lead the Lady Vols to a 36-33 halftime lead. The junior from Hoover, Alabama, 4 for 4 beyond the arc. So the Lady Vols by 3 as we return you to the studio and join Trey Wingo and Doris Berg for the 7-Up halftime report.
All right, Dave and Ann, thanks very much. Somewhat surprised, the Lady Vols lead on top. Doris, your thoughts on what we're seeing in the first half here from Tennessee? Again, as we said all day, playing with basically their third-string quarterback out there.
Yeah, as thin as Tennessee is at the guard spot, it really brings into very sharp focus exactly the contributions that a Sydney Spencer can give you. Now, if you go into the NCAA tournament with her shooting the basketball as well as she did in the first half, that would be critical. When you think about LSU, and Ann Myers made this point, you've got a great tandem in Augustus and Fowles. They score a good percentage of LSU's points, but the reality is, Trey, it's the players around those two who I think are critical to their success. The Shalonda Hostin on the defensive end and Erica White. We saw in that first half, 8 minutes without Simone scoring the buckets. She has got to get some support from the people around her. Shalonda Hostin capable. Interesting, too. LSU not a three-point shooting team in any way, shape, or form, but it was the three-point shot that really got them back into this first half. See if they can capitalize on that and maybe give it to their advantage in the second half. Meanwhile,
Back in North Little Rock, Arkansas, Dave Barnett and Myers, 36-33 Tennessee as we prepare to start the second half. Our game track in the first half featured a lot of Sylvia fouls on both ends of the court.
Started out on the defensive end, and she was blocking shots, intimidating shots, and they got inside and got an early lead. And then Candace Parker and Sydney Spencer basically took over this game with an inside-outside presence, with Parker backing up and even hitting a couple face-up shots, but Sydney Spencer going 4 of 4 from three-point range was the difference, because Tennessee shot 33% in the first half, but 60% from three-point range.
And that's what makes an LSU fan nervous to hear that. Tennessee not shooting the ball well at all, and yet they still have the lead.
Now, LSU shot 50%, Dave, but the biggest thing, LSU really got out of their offense. They weren't patient, and they didn't make Tennessee play defense. Tennessee, I mean, in the sense of moving on the defensive end.
Good start to the second half for Hostin. Her third three ties it at 36.
Honestly, I thought Tennessee did a terrific job because they held Simone Augustus for 10 minutes and 14 seconds scoreless at the end of that first half.
And something else we'll watch. Pokey Chapman played 4 players every minute of the first half. White followed by Augustus.
I'm looking for the adjustment that LSU will make on Zolman coming out, maybe putting a little bit more pressure on the ball handler for Tennessee. And Zolman, we talked about, the backcourt, but it is what it is. And Pat Summitt has made the adjustment. She's got the players that she has out there, and they've been playing with good chemistry.
Three-pointer, Shauna Zolman with her second. And she continues to extend the Tennessee single-season marker, 84th of the year.
I don't mind LSU kind of dropping off, but they've got to know who the Lady Vols shooters are. That's Zolman, Spencer, and Redding when she's in the game. You've got to put some more pressure on them. That's not the kind of shot that Simone Augustus would get in the offense. She can shoot the three, there's no question about it. But you've got to be able to take more time in the offense for LSU, Dave, and give credit to Tennessee because they're packing things in. They're making it very difficult for Augustus to get the kind of shots she wants.
Spencer just missed her first 3. She hit her first 4 and beyond the arc.
Oh, Fowles was wide open. They didn't get her the ball.
2 minutes into the second half. That time they got it to her, and Sylvia with 14 points.
The biggest thing for Sylvia Fowles, too, is that she wants to get better. When she gets bumped and hit, she wants to be able to finish those shots.
Andy, the previous 10 SEC tournament games decided by an average margin of more than 20 points per game, as Parker now has 15. Today we've had 3 tied. We've had 9 lead changes. Neither team's led by more than 7. White back and forth. What an offensive start for both teams this second half.
That closest game was Tennessee-Georgia last night. It was a 10-point game, but you're right. 20, 22 points was going into yesterday's games as far as the average margin of victory. And there should be 6 teams coming out of the SEC. Florida beating Tennessee, beating LSU. You know, maybe they're a bubble team, but Kentucky was picked to finish 9th. They finished 4th. Mickey DeMoss was the SEC Coach of the Year. Vanderbilt, Georgia, Tennessee, and LSU.
Fouls went to the deck. Championship week in full swing. Monday, 2 more teams will be crowned conference champions here on ESPN2. First at 5 Eastern, the women's Atlantic 10 championship game. Temple and GW. And then at 7 Eastern, the women's Big Ten tournament. The final matchup there, Ohio State and Purdue. Championship week presented by 7-Up. ESPN2 tomorrow.
And Ohio State, if they win the Big Ten, where do you see them? Are they a 1 seed or a 2 seed? Probably a 2.
Loose ball will right to Spencer, who tries to force it in for Parker. It's tied up by Thomas. The arrow will keep it on this end with 8 on the shot clock.
You can see LSU a little bit more pressure on the ball handlers. When Tennessee puts the ball on the floor, that's when they're attacking you. And off those passes, Tennessee's got to be a little bit more crisp pass to their post players.
Well, they decided to reset the shot clock. It was at 8.
Well, basically kind of changed possessions per se. That's what they're saying. That's what the LSU coaches want to find out.
Brian Enderline down for a quick explanation with Pokey Chapman.
Pokey Chapman said after the kick.
And now set to go. The fresh 30 on the shot clock. Parker. And the shot is Ullman. Tennessee in its 17th SEC tournament final, trying to win its 12th SEC tournament championship. And an LSU foul on Sylvia Fowles, her second.
You know, for Tennessee to have the lead that they did going into halftime, shooting 33%, they did out-rebound LSU. They had 11 offensive rebounds, and also Anisiki was 0 for 4, Fluker 1 for 7. When you got 2 big players inside that have been scoring for the Lady Vols, and then to be struggling from the floor in that first half, you got to give credit to the Lady Vols.
Nikki Anisiki with her first point of the day. First 2. 6'4" sophomore from Staten Island, New York, part of the tallest lineup in Tennessee history, averaging 6'2". Anisiki and Parker both 6'4", Fluker 6'5". Zolman 5'10", and Spencer 6'3", the starting 5 for Pat Summitt.
And that big lineup putting that press on LSU. Took some time off the shot clock, trying to get into that offense.
Lady Vols by 1. Back and forth SEC tournament championship final. 5 on the shot clock. Augustus couldn't get that one. Parker clears. You can be a one-woman fast break. Such a great handle on the ball.
Well, she can bring it up off the dribble, but I like the fact that she sees the floor and she'll pass it down the court, too.
Very creative passer. Pat Summitt says she's earned the right to be creative. That took to mean she is going to make maybe to the naked eye, low percentage pass, but to her it's not low percentage. Spencer hits the turn. She's got 18.
This is for LSU right now. What kind of adjustments do they make coming out at halftime in their offense? Simone Augustus is not getting the shots that she likes to get. So if you're not going to get those shots, get your teammates involved. Start doing some other things.
Knocked out of bounds by Anisiki. We have 15:31 to go in North Little Rock. Tennessee by 3. The Alltel Arena, where Tennessee leads by 3, and both these teams need to help that they don't run out of adrenaline, because A total of 7 players have yet to sit down in this game. The third game in as many days. At some point, you got to figure the fatigue's going to start to take a toll, don't you?
That's what's been such a grind, and LSU has been the team that has been able to rest their players. Simone Augustus sat down for 10 minutes in the last night's game against Kentucky, and then sat about 15 minutes in that first game. And Tennessee had 2 players go 40 minutes. And you're right. Is Tennessee going to tire out? But LSU is one team that's really struggling right now.
Austin hits the side of the glass as the shot clock expires.
It's really tough when you've got to play 4 games in a row.
Almost impossible. Darn near, anyway.
And Georgia gave it their all against Tennessee last night, and they only basically play 6, maybe 7 players.
Only 6 Lady Tigers have played today, and only 7 Lady Vols. Tennessee with a short bench anyway, especially today.
Well, you talk about Simone Augustus as far as struggling scoring. That's where you got to play defense. You've got to make things happen. You got to start hitting the boards. You got to get deflections. You've got to be involved. If you're not going to be able to score points, struggle from scoring points, do other things. Score off rebounds. You just got to find other ways to be effective in the game.
The Women's Big East Championship comes up Tuesday night from Hartford. Women's Big East Championship is presented by Aeropostale. It's part of Championship Week presented by 7-Up, ESPN2 Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern.
We talked about Simone Augustus maybe being Player of the Year. Cappie Pondexter is the other one. Those probably are the 2 that are talked about most. Sophia Young is up there. Ivy Latta. I think Candace, or I should say Paris, Courtney Paris out of Oklahoma. But I don't believe they'll pick a freshman. But then you've got the freshman Player of the Year. Is it Courtney Paris or Candace Park?
Augustus leading the nation in scoring. Cappie Pondexter not too far behind. Tough to go against Simone Augustus, leading the nation in scoring, shooting 59% from the field. Back-to-back trips to the Final Four, and she can cap her career in her hometown of Baton Rouge by making it 3 straight Final Fours, driving, hitting, and 1.
And there's a question, Dave, with the State Farm Wade Trophy Award, which is picked before the NCAA tournament starts. Do you wait until the NCAA tournament and wait for those next 3, 4 to 6 games to select the Player of the Year? You wonder if down the road that they'll change that, because a lot of people feel, and there are a lot of Player of the Year awards in different categories, that wait till afterwards.
This makes perfect sense. The season is coming to a climax. Why would you vote on less than all the available information?
When it really is going to matter. And it'll weed out, per se, some of the teams that don't make it to the NCAA tournament or don't go as far deep into the tournament.
Spencer, with her 3rd foul, finally takes a seat for the first time. 6 minutes gone in the second half. Parker's turnaround hits the mark. Freshman in name only. There is absolutely nothing about her game that spells freshman.
And she is 2 of 3 in the second half here. And Fowles has not gotten involved in the offense. One of the things that LSU wants to do in this motion offense is have Simone Augustus touch the ball. They have struggled a little bit too much dribbling, down to 6 seconds.
Austin driving baseline and hitting with 3 left on the shot clock.
Tough shot.
11 for Shalonda Austin. That possession, Augustus never got a touch, but they'll take it. Tied at 47 now. Donna Zolman long for 3. Rebound Fowles for 8 to go with 14 points and 6 block shots. White much too hard off the bank, but Augustus chases it down, puts it right back up, and the rebound to White. Driving reverse foul, Erica White.
And that's what Tennessee has done against LSU. When you get offensive rebounds, you put pressure on the other team because they're just standing around looking, trying to get the ball, and you can attack when you get those offensive rebounds.
That's the first possession, Eddie, where I thought Tennessee looked a little bit tired.
Flat. Right.
12.5 minutes to go. 3 for the lead, no good by Dominique Redding. Rebounded by Taisha Fluker, the senior from Pasadena, California.
Sylvia Fowles got taken way out of the lane.
Parker driving on Augustus. As good a matchup as this SEC final can offer, and Simone has called for her first foul.
That's the one thing that Pokey Chapman has talked about, Simone Augustus, is she loves the challenge. She takes great pride in her defense, and a lot of people feel that she's not a good defensive player. Maybe not, that's not one of her strong suits in her game, but she takes great pride in her defense, and when she puts herself in that mind frame that she can defend, she does a pretty good job. But Candace Parker did a great job driving the baseline that time.
First missed free throw today for Tennessee. They're 8 for 9. LSU is getting very few trips to the line. They're 3 out of 5.
We mentioned that free throws were going to be a key in this game for LSU because they've gotten to the line against Tennessee in the past. Tennessee just drives it down the throat. They're in the paint with their big players.
Augustus gets a step on Parker. And the foul on Candace is her first.
One thing that Pat Summitt talked about was she wanted to keep dribble penetration out of the lane. Augustus very good on the baseline. She drives baseline. They haven't gotten a lot of dribble penetration from the top down deep, so there's dish-offs. But right now, you talked about free throws, Augustus going to the line.
The LSU career leader, 88% at the foul line. SEC Player of the Year, a folk hero in her hometown of Baton Rouge.
She said this summer after playing USSA basketball, she went to Johnson Moore from McKenna High School, and they broke down her game, watched a lot of film, things that she needed to work on. It really helped her mentally coming in, being prepared for this season.
I'd like to see that film because I can't think of too many things she needs to work on.
More so mentally than anything else. She wanted to be mentally strong, which would help her physically, she felt.
Parker off balance.
Tough shot.
Rebound out to Redding. And Tennessee can reset.
Just the opportunities that offensive rebounding, hustling for the loose balls. Good defense by Hawson, and then pushed by Redding.
Yeah, Dominique Redding compounds the error. Gave up the dribble, then committed the frustration foul. Timeout, it's LSU by 3. Championship week presented by 7-Up, the SEC Tournament Championship. LSU leading Tennessee 51-48. Pokey Chapman in her second year replacing a legend. Sue Gunter, who in 22 seasons won 442 games, and in her final season as head coach, 2003-2004, finally took the Lady Tigers to a Final Four before passing away in 2005. Sue Gunter, a great lady, and Pokey Chapman said today, lots of times she'll pop into her head and old coaching advice comes back to mind, but she says mostly when I think about Sue Gunter, I just think about how much I miss my friend.
All of us miss a best friend. Like she said, she was everybody's best friend. And the wonderful thing that the Women's Basketball Coaches Association and the Basketball Hall of Fame in April in Knoxville is going to have a Habitat for Humanity house called the Gunter House that will be built in New Orleans.
Parker stuffing Shalonda Austin into the shot clock violation. Well, you're right. Sue Gunter had that rare ability to make you feel as if she had known you her whole life, even if you just met her.
Well, we did. We lost a great friend, a great teacher, a wonderful woman that was a role model to so many. She was the 1980 Olympic coach. She was the assistant on the 1976 Olympic coach under Billy Moore, and then in '80, Pat Summitt was her assistant coach. Just did so much for the game and for so many young women.
Lost out of bounds by Fluker. Tennessee now in the ditch. They have not had a basket the last 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
And that was a good hustle play by Simone Augustus, creating that turnover.
Largest lead for either team has been 7. That's how tight this one figured to be. We haven't been disappointed. Austin's 3, rebounded by Anisicki.
See, Simone Augustus is catching the ball up way high on the top of the key and having to do a lot of one-on-one.
Air ball on the drive by Spencer.
I was going to say it was a travel because she passed to herself. Apparently an LSU player got her hand on it.
Spencer back in after sitting following her third foul. Underneath, Fluker is turned away by Florence Williams. Another one of the Miami Edison High School seniors. Fouls is fouled. Another Edison product, as is Yolanda Hostin. All three coming from the same high school program.
Sylvia fouls. Only the second time she's really touched the ball. She's 1 of 1 in the second half. In that first half, 5 of 7. So give credit to Tennessee in keeping the ball out of not only Simone Augustus' hand, making her work, but also Sylvia fouls.
6'6" sophomore, who for most of the first half was darn near perfect.
Well, you mentioned about her free throw shooting and the comparison to Shaq and Shaquille O'Neal, who is an LSU grad and was with them in New Orleans. And she had a move last night against Kentucky, a spin move, drop step spin move off the baseline. It was so quick and fast. They called it the Shaq spin. But I said, you know, you got to call it the Sylvia spin. You got to start giving her props.
And not everything in LSU history was invented by Shaq. And they seem.
Oh, they had a good player. Didn't they have like a Maravich?
Pete Maravich had himself a career.
His dad, Trust Maravich, and then Dale Brown, excellent coach there.
Spencer's three starting to come up short, although she does win the race to the rebound.
Augustus could not keep her off the boards.
Parker turns on Hostin and misses.
Look at Spencer.
Spencer tries to save it, can't do it. Out of bounds to LSU with 9:19 remaining.
You gotta like the hustle of Tennessee. You talked about the fatigue factor. With this much time, will it wear on Tennessee? But they've really been pushing themselves.
4 Lady Tigers played every minute of the first half. I don't think any of them have been out yet in the second half. Fouls White, Hostin, and Augustus. It's fouled underneath.
What a great step by Sylvia Fowles. 6'6". She went to Don Meyer's camp in South Dakota. He used to coach at the Lipscomb camp. And it's a perimeter camp and a post player camp. She went up against the guys, and it was a big, big plus. I'm trying to convince you to go to the Pete Newell Tall Women's Camp down in San Diego, because it just, you know, any kind of footwork, when you work with such wonderful teachers like a Don Myers or a Pete Newell, it's going to make a difference. But look at this big step. She's already in the lane. She gets fouled by Fluker, but it's very difficult to stop at her size when she's that close to the basket.
Second foul on Fluker. After missing 2, Fowles comes right back and hits 2. 16 points. LSU by 5. Minutes now since the last Lady Ball basket. Alex Fuller in, redshirt freshman from Shelbyville, Tennessee.
White has really been shadowing that point. Good pressure.
8 to shoot as Fuller goes baseline, misses everything. Another Fowles rebound for 9th.
Well, Williams got Fluker to go down.
White to Augustus. Simone beats everybody up the floor. Timeout, Pat Summitt. With 8:23 to go, the biggest lead of the day for either team. LSU on a 13-3 run. 5.5 minutes now without a basket for Tennessee. The turning point of the season may well have been after a loss, 66-63 at Kentucky, January 26. 2 of Pat Summitt's former players, independent of each other, decided to show up and talk to the team. Melissa McCray-Dukes, who played on the 87 and 89 national champs, and Shelley Sexton Collier, who was the point guard on that 87 championship team, both decided, again, independent of one another, that this Tennessee team needed to hear about its past. And they came and they talked to the team after that Kentucky loss. They said, how dare you let down the past Tennessee champions on defense and rebounding? And this is the point, and where maybe some of that speech needs to come back in the mind of the Lady Vols, because they are falling behind because they seem to be too tired to dig down and do the dirty work at the moment.
They had lost back-to-back games with Duke and Kentucky, and you have to remember LSU played all the early games as the top seed, so they maybe have a little bit more rest. And Pat Summitt was up till 3 in the morning with Billy Moore, who they've become very close, and Billy Moore was the Olympic coach and coach at UCLA, won a national championship, but till 3 in the morning trying to get ready for this LSU game, and the players, you're all jacked up off a late game and you don't get an early sleep.
Well, Fluker finally ends the drought. 13:56 had been the last basket. So a little over 6 minutes went by for Tennessee.
Now, you talked about the fatigue factor too. Tennessee's being very physical also with Simone Augustus. Every time she cuts through that key, they're putting a body on her.
Methodical possession for the Lady Tigers. Now they got to get something up, and Augustus banks too hard with the shot clock winding down. First time ever Tennessee lost twice in the season to unranked opponents. Kentucky and Florida among their 4 losses this year. Quick trigger on the 3. Zolman, rebound, fouls, a double-double for Sylvia Fowles, her SEC leading 20th of the year. Knocked out of White's hands and out of bounds, and a timeout with 6:50 remaining. Pokey, Chapman, and LSU up 5 for the SEC championship.
Right after the ladies are done, don't forget we've got men's semifinals in the West Coast Conference. Nick Lewis and San Diego trying to stay classy against Gonzaga. That's next. But now back to LSU and Tennessee.
The Alltel Arena, where LSU leads Tennessee 55-50 with 6:50 to play in the SEC Tournament Championship, part of Championship Week, presented by 7-Up. Dave Barnett and Myers. LSU by as many as 7 in the first half. Tight second half. They just recently built another 7-point lead. Augustus with 18 points, 9 in each half. Fowles with 16 points and 10 rebounds are the stories for LSU.
The thing that's so amazing, Tennessee shooting 29% in the second half, Dave, and they're only down 5, but they've got 17 offensive rebounds.
Tough hook almost goes. Not this time for Augustus. Fowles has had a double-double in every game in this SEC tournament.
LSU continues to dominate in the paint, 30-8. Tennessee only has 8 points down low.
And their shooting continues to be very poor, although for a large part of this game they've been ahead despite shooting 32%. Three-pointer straight on. Spencer, 5 threes today.
Well, I love the confidence that Parker has to give her teammates, in the sense that she didn't want the ball. She didn't want the ball. They rotated it back out to Sydney Spencer, and Spencer is just on fire again. LSU really not picking up Spencer and putting any kind of pressure on her. Force her to put the ball on the floor.
Austin guarded by Parker with 8 to shoot. Augustus stays outside, misses. Rebound Sydney Spencer, and Tennessee can tie it or lead with a 3.
LSU is just not getting the motion off, and see there, you drop off Nikki Hanisicki way down there, but you don't let the pass inside. Good job by Tennessee.
Taisha Fluker ties it at 55. Timeout, LSU. We can hardly ask for a better SEC tournament championship, and 2 more games coming up tomorrow as championship week continues in full swing. First at 5 Eastern, the women's A-10 title game, number 20 Temple against George Washington. Followed at 7 Eastern by the women's Big Ten tournament. That final matchup is Purdue and Ohio State, number 11 and number 5. Championship week presented by 7-Up, ESPN2 tomorrow.
It'll be interesting to see if LSU were to lose this game. I still think they're a number 1 seed, but then Tennessee could be considered a number 1 seed.
Are Augustus's legs perhaps starting to go? Last couple of shots not that close. We've had 8 ties, 15 lead changes, and again the biggest lead for either team has been 7, a couple of times for the Lady Tigers. Fluker. And Hostin pulls off Parker for the board. Under 5 minutes. Fowles pushes one up. Quick shot. One and done possession.
Well, they wanted a foul on that, but as you said, one and done, and that's really hurt LSU. But I like the fact, even though it was a quick shot, they have really, I think, taken too much time out on the perimeter. They have not been aggressive and gone inside, attacked with the passes off their screens.
Spencer travels.
See, make her put the ball on the floor. When she catches the ball facing the basket, she is very difficult to defend. But when she's got her back to the basket and she's putting the ball on the floor, she's going to turn it over.
Augustus with a feed underneath for fouls. And she looks for a call and gets none.
They're saying, get up, Sylvia Fowles. Now remember, she hurt her ankle yesterday a little bit.
Watch three-pointer, Shauna Zolman.
Tennessee really took advantage of Sylvia Fowles going down on the ground.
And Erica White quickly earns a trip to the line. Foul by Zolman, her third.
In the game against Tennessee, where LSU won by 3, Sylvia Fowles got in foul trouble, and Tennessee was able to make a big run. She also had fallen on her back, and she came out of that game. And she missed quite a few minutes, not just because of the foul trouble, but because when she fell. Now she looks like she's hurting a little bit.
Yep. Trying to stay stretched out. Really feeling it is Erica White. The best free throw shooter they have this year, 87%, is 0 for 2 today.
Now LSU has not helped themselves on the line in this game.
Matter of fact, they have really hurt themselves. 7 for 12. Tennessee is 9 out of 10. 7 points for White. Lady Vols by 2. 4 minutes to go. A 10-1 run for Tennessee in progress.
It started with that outside shot.
Tennessee had a stretch of about 6 minutes without a basket. They've recovered nicely. 4 on the shot clock. As it's deflected out of bounds by Florence Williams with 2 to shoot. When we come back, after this timeout, 3:35 remaining. Tennessee 58, LSU 56. Definitely looks that way. 58-56. 2 on the shot clock. And the difference has been the ability of the Lady Vols to hit on the run.
LSU had that 5-point lead coming out of that timeout. All of a sudden, bam, Spencer hit that 3. And then you got Zolman knocking down a 3 also. But it was that play inside, that pass that they got inside. And then they tied it up so quick, LSU was very surprised.
Anasicki looking, finally in Zolman. And the shot clock expires with 3:32 to go. LSU's drought coming up on 5 minutes since their last field goal. A 10-1 Tennessee run has been the result. Augustus made the last shot for them at 8:24 on the clock. Williams with a lob. Fowles, takes it, reverses and misses. One more chance. Stripped by Zolman. And stripped right back by White. How many times have we seen that today? A steal followed immediately by a steal. And in this case, a frustration foul on the Lady Vols.
Well, I love Fowles' ability to catch the ball. She missed that first one and then went up and got it. Brought it right down to Zolman. Zolman tried to dribble out of there, and that's the tough part with Tennessee, and Erica White was all over it.
Spencer is called for her 4th. That's the 21-point Sydney Spencer, the 5 3-pointer. Sydney Spencer.
And certainly free throws are going to be so important down the stretch here, Dave, as far as, you know, the fatigue factor, who gets to the line, and the big-time players have to come through in the clutch.
Simone Augustus 4 for 4. 5 out of 5. She ties it at 58. LSU 4 points away from a perfect record. They lost by 3 at UConn, by 1 in overtime at Florida. That's it on a 27-2 resume coming in today.
It's been about 10 minutes since Candace Parker has scored for Tennessee.
6 on the shot clock. Here's Parker. Loves that turnaround shot. Can't get the roll this time. Fouls, despite picking up a couple of bruises along the way this second half, continues to control the glass.
Coming out of that timeout, Pokey Chapman grabbed Erica White, kind of slapped her on the cheek, and had a lot of good point guard information to give her.
Bad pass. White, thinking Fowles was going to dive underneath the bucket, and now they exchange notes on the turnover.
This is where Erica White has to settle down. She's a sophomore. She's the leader of this team. Again, we talked about Tamika Johnson last year, was the rookie of the year in the WNBA at 5'3". She led this LSU team for the last couple of years. Just a dynamic personality as a point guard. White will get there, but she's got to get out of the face a little bit in a way and back down off a player like Sylvia Fowles.
Under 2 minutes, stolen by Augustus. Augustus in a foot race. LSU by 2.
That's what the great players do. We talked about it in the middle of the second half. Fowles, how tough she's been, but Simone Augustus struggling on her offensive game, and you got to do it on the defensive end. You got to do it off of rebounds. You got to set picks, get assists, do the little things.
60-58 Lady Tigers with a minute and a half in regulation. 9 on the shot clock. Shauna Zolman guarded by White with 5. Pulls up in the circle. Short rebound to Tennessee. Fouls. And out of bounds off of Tennessee.
Sylvia Fowles with another blocked shot. Where does she have? 7, 8?
7.
We think 8. We saw one earlier, which is a career high. .105 remaining, the biggest possession of the season for LSU.
With a 2-point lead. Williams will take it back out.
LSU just running time off the clock.
White resetting, 8 to shoot. Diving to the bucket is Augustus. Simone Augustus hits back-to-back. LSU by 4.
What a pass by White. She was averaging almost 10 assists in the 2 games she's played in the tournament.
The player of the year takes LSU on her shoulders. Oh! With her third 3 of the half, 4th of the game. Timeout. LSU by 1. Simone Augustus had a little bit of a lull in the second half until the last couple of LSU possessions.
Just a big-time defensive play right there. We talked about Sydney Spencer maybe being a little tired, but Augustus making things happen. And then the nice back door, Erica White and Augustus seeing each other's eyes. And then how about this shot by Shauna Zolman, her 4th 3-pointer of the game. Couldn't have happened at a better time for the Lady Vols.
35.5 seconds, 62-61 LSU. The Lady Tigers have 3 timeouts left. Tennessee has 2.
Now you look at the possessions. Tennessee trying to put pressure on LSU to either turn the ball over or force a bad shot.
LSU has the possession arrow. Zolman will put Erica White on the line with 33.2 seconds, her 4th.
Simone Augustus has scored the last 7 points for LSU. You talk about big-time players getting the ball in their hands, trying to take over. Both teams have had, really at times during this game, balanced attacking. The 2 players we talked about, Simone Augustus, Candace Parker, they were dry for a while, then they shined, then they were dry. Now we've seen Augustus, and now we'll see if Parker, for the last 33 seconds, can do something.
This crowd is about 90% Tennessee orange, and she misses the front end with 30 seconds to go. Tennessee ball difference of 2 seconds on the 2 clocks. Parker at the point.
Don't need a 3, but you don't want to put them at the line either.
1-4 set. Parker driving off balance, scores, and the Lady Vols lead by 1. 15 seconds. Pokey Chapman calls time. Who were we talking about 2 hours ago? The best senior in the country, Simone Augustus, who has scored the last 2 buckets for LSU, and maybe the best freshman of the country in Candace Parker, who is a one-woman possession here to give Tennessee the lead back.
Just a great move by Candace Parker, basically clearing things out, flattening it out. Candace Parker with the crossover to the left side, and look at how she's already squared up as she takes off. Very difficult for Austin to defend that, and Parker was in great control on that shot. There was no help to come up on her to get that ball out of her hands. She knew that she was going to take that shot. Pat Summitt wanted her to take that shot. Now the ball goes to Simone Augustus. Does it go to Sylvia Fowles? Got 14 seconds left. You don't want to take too much time off the clock where you don't have an opportunity to rebound it, but you also don't want to give the opponent a chance to come down and get an easy basket either.
Second year in a row, these two decide the SEC tournament.
This is either going to be a drive by Simone Augustus once they get the ball in her hands, or look for it to get the pass to Sylvia Fowles inside. And Tennessee's not afraid to foul and put LSU on the line. They don't need to put them on the line. They don't want to put them on the line right now because they don't need for them to tie the score up.
Candace Parker had not made a basket in 12 minutes. In fact, had not made a point in 12 minutes until that go-ahead bucket. So White inbounding at midcourt, 14.7 LSU. Down 1 as it comes into Augustus. She is guarded by Anasicki. Pulls up, fires, back rim. Anasicki the rebound to Spencer, and she's fouled with 5.4.
First of all, Dave, there was confusion on the out of bounds. You coming out of that timeout, those players should have known where to go and who was going to get the ball. You saw indecision on Williams' face and Erica White taking the ball out of bounds. Simone Augustus had to come out high. She wanted to drive. You saw a little double up. They forced her to stop, take the shot, couldn't get the rebound. A tough square up by Simone Augustus. I like the fact that she took the shot. There was plenty of time left. 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Even if Spencer knocks these shots down, LSU's got a chance to hit a 3.
And a great outlet pass by Anasicki to the best free throw shooter Tennessee has, Zolman, who is 94%. So it's the NCAA single season career or single season record as a sophomore, 96%, career 91%. And Tennessee will call another timeout here. LSU with only 4 fouls is a ways from, if it comes down to this, putting Tennessee on the line.
Well, this is great for Tennessee. No question, because now they just take the ball out of bounds. LSU has to continue to stop the clock and try and put them at the free throw line. But LSU, I was surprised at the out-of-bounds play, Dave, that they had in the sense of where they were set up and the players, how they looked at each other on who was going to get the ball and how. Certainly, Simone Augustus came to almost half court and didn't look like that was the play that was supposed to rerun. Then there were no picks set. It was a one-on-one situation, kind of like what they did with Parker. But they didn't flatten it out enough because Spencer was there a little bit to kind of cut Augustus off so that she couldn't take it all the way to the basket.
Also, as you said, they didn't necessarily want to take the shot at the buzzer and leave no chance for tip-in, but she also didn't have to take that shot that early. There was an eternity left on the clock.
Or force the foul. Because she fades away from it a little bit. Even though she's squared up, it's almost the turn. She had to turn too much. Candace Parker, on the other hand, when people are right-handed, they drive left-handed, you're automatically automatically squared up going to the left when you take off for a shot. When you're right-handed, you drive right-handed, you have to turn your shoulders more to square up to the basket.
So again, 2 fouls to give for LSU in only 5.4 seconds. Anosicki inbounding. Hostin almost steals it. Almost threw it out of bounds off Parker. Decanter says it's still Tennessee's ball, but boy, was this close.
Great hustle by Hostin. If that goes LSU's way, obviously a different story, but Tennessee again with the ball out of bounds.
Must look for the steal. The foul on Hostin with 3.7 seconds. That is just team foul number 5. They're going to use up the remaining time just trying to get the fouls they need to force Tennessee to the line.
Remember last year Tennessee beat LSU by 2 in the championship game.
Anosicki looking, did not get it in before the timeout is called, the last Tennessee timeout.
Zolman ran over to call the timeout in front of Brian Enterline before the 5 seconds got called.
So, no questions asked now. Tennessee has got to get the ball inbounds.
Remember in 2003, LSU beat Tennessee for the championship here in Little Rock, 78-62. But last year, a 2-point win, 67-65 for Tennessee.
Hostin was this close to forcing a turnover. She stepped out.
She was already out of bounds trying to save it. We could not see it from our angle, but a great coverage by our camera people.
So now Zolman will inbound. Again, 3.7 seconds. And LSU at only 5 team fouls. Did a lot of moving and jostling in that pileup. Now Zolman with a look. Gets it into Spencer. Spencer dribbles out the clock, and Tennessee wins the SEC Tournament Championship. In their 17th SEC Tournament final, the Lady Vols win their 12th SEC Tournament Championship, 63-62. One more look at the game winner. Candace Parker fights off a drought and gives the Lady Vols the 1-point win for Ann Myers and our entire crew. This is Dave Barnett. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Let's check in with Trey Wingo in the studio.
All right, Dave and Ann, thanks very much. Wow, what a finish to that game here with Doris Burke. And Doris, it came down to this. When push came to shove in this championship game, the freshman made the play and the senior couldn't.
Parker has the physical abilities to be the best player in college basketball. They've been waiting for her to assert herself in the big moments. Now LSU comes back down the floor. They have a chance. Similar to a loss against Connecticut, Simone Augustus does not get a great shot. Tennessee with a third-string point guard.